Hey guys, what's up? It's Joe Rady from Rady's Rides. I'm back here at Ferrari at Tampa Bay because guess what? We have the classic colors of any Corvette. This is a 2016 Corvette Z06 finished in that beautiful white red interior, just like the 300 examples that were first built all the way in 1953. But before we dive into the Z06, let's talk a little bit more about the history of the Corvette. Been around since 1953. We are now in the 8th generation. This 2016 Z06 falls under the 7th generation. 7th generation, last of the front engine Corvettes, goes from 2014 to 2019. Now, the Z06 has been seen before. This was the first time in Chevrolet history where the Z06 had some new things, and some people thought it was a great idea. Other people were like, whoa, if this is a performance model, why are we adding those things? So some of those things would be an automatic transmission, first time available on a Z06, the removable roof panel, first time on the C7 Z06, and then also the addition of the convertible. Another little hot talking point was this is the first ever supercharged Z06 Corvette, because underneath that hood, V8 supercharged power. Now, with the C8 Corvette and that 8th generation, there is gonna be another Z06 coming out in 2022. That one is gonna be much different, naturally aspirated, flat plane crankshaft, high screaming RPM. But what I wanna do is with this video review, I wanna try to answer a question. For less than $60,000, is this the best way to go if you want supercar performance in a very affordable package? So let's go ahead, dive into this C7 Z06 and see how it packs so much power, so much performance for a very affordable price tag. Right off the bat, like I was saying, that beautiful white color, so classic on a Corvette. With the Z06, it's not just about horsepower underneath that hood, it's also about the bodywork. A Z06 Corvette is actually wider than your standard Stingray Corvette. And the first time that they made a C7 Z06 was 2015. So this is technically the second year of the C7 Z06. You can see the addition of that flat black fender flare. You're looking at wider wheels and tires. So to keep everything tucked in nicely, they flare that out very nice. Always liked the headlight design on the C7. When I first saw it, I was like, is that a Ferrari? That's how good it looks. So you're gonna have full LED headlights, daytime running lamps, and turn signals. Everything nice and smooth, super aerodynamic so you could cheat the wind. As we come across the front section, you have that iconic cross flags. Checkered flag and the Chevrolet bow tie flag has been around since 1953. I like the way that Chevrolet uses what's called carbon flash metallic instead of gloss black. If you look closely, this actually has a metallic flash to it, sparkle, and it's almost like in between black and a gunmetal gray. So very, very nice design that's gonna flow tons of air into the radiators for all the cooling, because we're talking about 650 horsepower. On the Z06, you can see how you have the extension of that lower splitter, that lower lip spoiler, that's gonna help air go into the front and not go underneath the car. We don't want air to go underneath the car. That's going to produce lift. You even have functional air intakes on both sides. That's gonna allow more cooling. And that's the great news about this Corvette, is everything is functional. Not only looks drop dead sexy, but it's functional as well. Now, when we get up on to the front end, remember, last time a V8 is gonna be in a Corvette, up front, you have your carbon flash metallic heat extractor aerodynamic aid that's gonna drag that air from the front, bring it out the top. I love all the sharp creases in the C7. Really gives it that stealth fighter kind of look with the way that they did all the bends. And like I said, the proportions, having that engine up front, to me, that really is true Corvette bliss. When we come around the bend, here's what we're working with, wheel and tire package. So you're gonna have this beautiful gloss black wheel. Up front, you're gonna have a 19-inch wheel. Out back, we have 20-inch wheels. So this is a 285 up front. That's the width of the Z06 front wheel and tire setup. Very slim and trim, 30 series tire. It's almost like a rubber band wrapped around this wheel. You can see the Z06 badging that's been stamped there. Behind the wheel, look at all that braking goodness. We have Grimace size proportions on that Brembo caliper there, 6-piston bright red caliper with the Corvette script, two-piece rotor. Remember, two-piece rotor is gonna help dissipate heat. It's also lighter, so that means less rotating mass. And you're gonna have 15.5-inch rotors that are slotted and fully ventilated, gonna give us great braking capability. Underneath the beautiful bodywork, you have that magnetic ride suspension, which is gonna read the road like no tomorrow, so that you could always get the best performance no matter what type of driving that you're doing. As we go down the side, some of those things that connect us to making us say this is a Corvette is our functional side vent here. I love the way they bring the Z06 badge, Supercharged, and what's interesting, whether you go Stingray, ZR1, or Grand Sport for the C7, each one has a unique side vent, and I like that. It gives it those nice touches, but this is in that carbon flash metallic. You can see the very strong body line that goes across the bottom is gonna bring us into this side scoop. That's gonna help cool the brakes. We have metallic on the mirrors, carbon fiber roof. Remember, this is removable. First time for a Z06. The engineers say you can remove this and it's not going to mess up the rigidity of the chassis, but I love seeing that carbon fiber through there. Nice extra touch. The way that the lines have a nice swooping raise, they kind of flare out and swoop towards the back, really gives it that Batmobile look. These up here are not for brake cooling. You have a transaxle, so what that means is engine up front, transmission out back. This is to help cool that transaxle and the differential, one on each side, carbon flash metallic. We get to the tail end of the business. We have 650 horsepower. We need to get it to the ground. This is a 20-inch wheel, so they're staggered. This one is a 335, so we're talking about even wider than what's up front. Still gonna have a nice size 4-piston Brembo caliper. Those two-piece rotors that are massive, they look like flying saucers. I feel like aliens just landed here at Ferrari Tampa Bay, but really shows the performance and tension. It's not just about going fast in a straight line, it's about being able to slow down and stop on a dime and give everybody change. When we get to the back, here's sexy. You have that beautiful rear window. Remember, this is a hatch. Technically, it's a hatchback if you want to call it that. Strong lines coming towards the rear. I love the way that rear window kind of tapers in a little bit. We have a large deck lid spoiler, carbon flash metallic. The way that you know that this is a Z06 from behind are the taillights. On a Z06 only are they clear. Stingray, they're actually red, bright red plastic. You have the functional side vents here. We come across the center, more of that carbon flash metallic, a massive rear diffuser, and then of course that quad exhaust tucked in so nicely. Remember, C8 Corvette, you don't have that. Two on each side is the way they have it separated. But let's go ahead, pop that hood and see what's powering the Z06. All right guys, time to open up the hood. Remember, can't do this on a C8, you gotta go back there. We lift it up, beautiful. We're talking about LT4 power. Now, the last generation, the C6 Z06, had an LS7 naturally aspirated. That's that LT4 supercharged V8, 650 horsepower, 650 pound-feet of torque. It's all done through an Eaton TVS supercharger that's producing almost 10 pounds of boost. It is that 6.2 liter V8. Remember, that's a push rod engine, so we're not talking about overhead cams. We're talking about older technology, but Chevrolet is getting the work done. The great news is you still can have your manual, 7-speed manual, or like I said, the big debate was this is the first Z06 where you could have an 8-speed automatic, that hydromatic transmission, full magnetic ride suspension. The car weighs around 3,428 pounds, 0 to 60 in about 3 seconds, quarter mile and 11 flat, top speed around 185 miles an hour. And if you're worried about MPGs, 13 in the city, 24 in the highway. I think one of my favorite things about opening up that reverse hood is, first of all, that's tradition. Can't do it on a C8, but from C1 to C7, that reverse opening up hood, and I'm telling you right now, that's a pretty damn good looking engine compartment. You can see the beautiful work they did with the Corvette LT4 badging, that supercharger. You got your supercharger pulley up front there. Everything nicely organized. I could see the exhaust manifold headers, spark plug wires. I mean, that's what being a car enthusiast is about, is being able to see, touch, and admire the work that the engineers did. But let's go ahead. Let's have our ears have a little bit of an eargasm and admire the work. Let's fire up this Z06. right, guys, we're inside the Z06 Corvette 2016. I was telling you about that classic color combination, white with the red interior. You know, when this was new, you're looking at well over $80,000 for this, almost 90. This one has been marked right under $60,000. You're looking around $59,995 for this particular one. It really is the classic color combination. Let's see what you get for the money. To the door panels. Now on the C7, they really brought up the fit, the feel, the finish. Love the leather up top, that red contrast stitching with a little bit of red on the interior really pops and shows that classy style. Small pocket down there. You could probably get a hot dog or two from 7-Eleven, but I'm telling you right now, if you're eating in my Z06, that'll be the last time you ever ride with me because I'm kicking you out. We get to the dash. Love the two-tone. I'm so glad they didn't just go all red. Two-tone. You have your dual climate control, AC controls for the passenger over there. Alcantara on your A-pillars and the inside of the roof, which is nice. And then I love the way everything is driver focused. You have that 8-inch infotainment system screen, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, navigation, real nice swipe feature and everything. You have your PDR, that performance data recorder. That's why we have those cameras out front. It even has the James Bond-esque security area, so you could put a phone in here, your wallet. If you're dumb enough to have somebody drive your Corvette or valet it, you can leave that stuff locked in here, put a special code and they can't get to it. I wish they would have done something a little sexier with the start-stop button, so I am gonna zonk that again. You do have your dual climate controls, blower fan speed, passenger over there, you have yours. Everything is driver focused. Look at this. This one has the ventilated seats, heated seats. Love the little performance badge that they give you. If you're wondering where do I plug in my 12 volt for my radar detector, right there is where she's gonna go. 2 cup holders, your Zippo style key fob. It's got the Corvette flags on it. You got remote start, really slim and trim, like the style of it. You have your mode selector button because you have different drive modes, which I'll show you when you come over the business end. Your 8-speed automatic, that hydromatic transmission with a nice shift boot. Little bit of brushed aluminum. I wish they would have used this aluminum in all the places rather than this flat black. Your passenger has an oh crap handle when you're getting on it, because I'm telling you, 0 to 63 seconds, they're gonna crap themselves. So they're gonna need a handle. Nice armrest with the red. I could only open it up my way. And if you're gonna put a Twinkie in there, don't, because you're gonna squirt cream everywhere. Good news is you got 2 USBs and another 12 volt. Seats, love them. Z06 badging, Corvette cross flags, perforated center, nice bolstering, nothing that's gonna squeeze you. Electric assist for both the passenger and the driver. Love that sill plate down there that says Corvette. Easy to get in and out of these Corvettes. If the last time you got into a Corvette was the 4th generation C4, I highly advise getting into one of these because much different, much different. Nice frameless auto dimming mirror, and like I said, Alcantara everywhere in here. Coming over the business end, I'll show you behind the wheel of the Z06 Corvette. All right, guys, behind the wheel of the Z06, seats come up nice, good amount of bolstering, steering wheel, very race car-esque. Flat bottom, you got some carbon fiber, the Z06 badge, the Corvette cross flag, some of that brushed aluminum, which is nice. Flat black on the buttons. Large pedals, but my zonk is that these pedals are plastic and not some type of metal. Plus, I would like them to be a little bit larger. The ones on the C8 Corvette are much nicer. Dash, though, makes perfect sense. You have that nice, large TFT display. Look when I go through my different modes here. So I go into sport, then we can go into track, and then, of course, we keep on spinning and you could go to all weather. So if you are in a situation where you're worried about traction, you go into all weather. My only zonk for it is I wish they would just get rid of the analog speedometer, fuel gauge, and that boost gauge. I think everything could have been and should have been in that beautiful TFT display. But the crazy news is, if you're worried about there not being enough room, there's so much room in here compared to a Camaro. It's much well organized, much better organized than a Camaro for sure. But why don't we go ahead, if you're ready. I'm not showing the back, we've already showed the storage. The Z06 is not about the storage. If you're ready, I'm ready. Let's take this Z06 for a spin. All right, guys, we left Ferrari at Tampa Bay. We're in this 2016 Z06 Corvette. I'm telling you, every time I get into a Corvette, you know me, I love it. And I know that the C8's faster, technically, but there's nothing like a front-engine Corvette, especially a Z06 with a supercharged V8. Let's see how she accelerates. We're doing about 50 miles an hour right now. Let me change lanes. On throttle, drops down. Look at this. Oh my God. It's crazy how well. Now, this isn't a DCT transmission. The Hydromatic is not a DCT transmission. This is just an 8-speed automatic. Shifts very, very fast, very smooth. Now, if you go C8, that does have the 8-speed DCT. That's a Tremec built unit. This one is that Hydromatic. Still shifts very quickly. Of course, I would prefer the manual. And the great news is, if you still want a manual, get one of these because you can have your manual. All right, guys, time for another on throttle. On throttle, here we go. Wow, when it shifts, I love the pop. It really reminds me when watching the 24 Hours of Le Mans or being at Sebring or Daytona for the IMSA WeatherTech Series races. When you're in that, when you're watching that in-car camera footage and they're shifting through the gearbox, you hear those same great pops, the same roar. And that is something that, remember, even though the Z06 is coming back for the C8, it's gonna be a flat plane crankshaft and it's gonna sound much different, unlike any other Corvette before. That could be good, that could be bad. I mean, it just depends on what you want from your Corvette experience. On the interior, very well laid out. And also, I think it's not as claustrophobic as the C8 because that oh crap handle doesn't come out as far, and you have all your switch gear for your AC underneath the infotainment system area. Plenty of headroom. I got the seat to fit me like this Corvette was made for me. I mean, that's how I feel right now. You have a head-up display, great size. I have it in sport mode. We're gonna leave it in sport mode the whole time, and we will play between the Hydromatic shifting for us and me using those plastic paddles behind the steering wheel. All right, guys, let's do another on throttle acceleration test here. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. On throttle, drops down, and we are off like a missile. Love it. So smooth. Remember, all that extra aero, the front splitter, the way the bodywork is shaped, it's about producing downforce, and it actually makes you more confident because the car is rock solid stable. I love seeing that raised center section of the hood. This is just a special car. It really is. And to think that you could get one of these and you have the last generation of the front engine Corvette and you have supercar performance for not a supercar price tag. That sounds like a really good idea to me. All right, guys, manual shift, on throttle, here we go. Little sideways, ain't gonna hurt anybody if you know what you're doing. But on throttle into this left-hand turn, here we go. Oh! The power is ridiculous in this car. Absolutely ridiculous. And that's what I say, you know, we're talking about supercars that have 1,000 horsepower. If you can't get the horsepower to the ground, what's the point of it? It really is useless because it's all about getting the traction to the ground. And this Corvette, I'm sure, probably needs some new rubber or something, but you just got to be gingerly with that throttle. But definitely shifting through the paddles is a handful because of 650 pound-feet of torque. I mean, that is a ton of torque. All right, guys, pulling away from the light, very easy. The great news about this car is you could daily drive it and it's a pussycat. But when you want to get on throttle, you get on it, you're gone. I mean, the sound and the roar and the experience, especially with that supercharger, really quickens things up very quickly. Plus, you have that amazing sound coming from the back of the car. I mean, it is just outrageous, that V8 roar you get out of a Z06 Corvette. But super smooth. That's the wonderful thing about this. Remember, and that's all because of that magnetic ride suspension. I mean, because of that suspension, it just allows you to be able to really have perfect damping. On throttle, look at this thing. It's crazy. Unbelievable. It's like I'm almost a little scared of this car just because of the limited traction we have from having a little bit older set of tires. I mean, that's really keeps you on your toes, that's for sure. So you don't want to just get one of these and just be lead foot, because you'll probably be spinning around and wrapping yourself around a tree. All right, guys, let's get on throttle, here we go. Yeah! The sound of that V8, the shifts so quick, and the brakes are phenomenal. That's what's so awesome about this car, is that you could shed speed very, very quickly, so flat, so composed as well when it comes to the front end of the vehicle. And the handling, you're just so well connected. There's a great weight to the steering. It just feels really, really good. Look at this, so nice. Yeah, woohoo! I love that sound. I love it. Love the sound of a supercharged V8. It's so fantastic. It really is. All right, guys, driving down the road, I'm telling you, it's freaking nuts. This thing is nuts. Look at this. And the sound, good brake feedback from those massive 6-piston calipers, 2-piece rotors. They really did the business when it comes to braking. All right, guys, hopefully this gave you a nice overall feel of what you're getting when you go Z06. You know, if it had some newer rubber on it, we would have went and pushed a little bit harder, but that is something that Ferrari at Tampa Bay is putting new rubber on this vehicle. So don't be concerned about that if you're tempted to buy this particular one, because it really is a great car. But we're going to get back to Ferrari at Tampa Bay and wrap this one up, so I'll see you in a split second. All right, guys. It's been one of those days where you're just like, yes, I'm so glad Rady's Rides exists. But first, I definitely got to thank Matt, Ryan, and everybody at Ferrari at Tampa Bay for allowing us access to this freshly traded in 2016 Z06 Corvette. I think for less than 60 grand, you definitely are getting supercar performance. Not just sports car performance, supercar performance at such an affordable, obtainable price tag. Plus with this particular one, the white, the red interior, those massive rotors, the calipers bright red, the wheels, everything is just perfect on it. I wish it had a manual, but hey, to each their own. What can I do about that? But if it's cars like these, where we look at, hey, what's the best car, supercar performance for under 60 grand? If you like seeing that on the channel, leave a comment in that comment section. If you're new and you're on your way out, hit the subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile coming back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Rady's Rides family. If you want to help us keep making great content just for you on the channel, click the link in the description, get yourself some Rady's Rides merch. Got to get it up to Big Guns McGee, sweating out here in the sun, but you know what? He wants an icy, so we're going to go buy him one. So thank you, Tom, for your hard work, and just like always, I'll see you on the next ride.